Part 1. The Ambitious Short King. You think Napoleon Bonaparte was just a stoic, serious military genius. Think again. Today, we meet the original short king of modern history. The man who conquered almost all of Europe with sheer tactical brilliance, yet lost the most humiliating battle of his life to a horde of fluffy bunnies. First off, let's clear up the biggest myth in history. Napoleon was not abnormally short. He was around 5 feet 6 inches, which was actually completely average for a French man back then. The whole short Napoleon thing was just relentless British propaganda. But what he lacked in mythical height, he made up for in absolute, unhinged ambition. He crowned himself Emperor of the French, literally snatching the crown from the Pope's hands. Talk about the ultimate flex in front of the Catholic Church. He rewrote entire legal systems and rearranged the map of Europe like a game of Risk. But behind this terrifying military brain was a man with some bizarrely funny habits. And his most hilarious historical failure is about to unfold. Part 2. Attack of 3,000 Bunnies. In 1807, after signing a major peace treaty, Napoleon wanted to celebrate in style. He ordered his chief of staff, Marshal Berthier, to organize a grand rabbit hunt. Berthier wanted to impress the emperor, so he collected around 3,000 rabbits. The day arrived, dignitaries gathered, and the cages were unlocked for the epic hunt. Normally, wild rabbits are supposed to run away from hunters in terror, right? Well, there was one fatal flaw. Berthier didn't buy wild rabbits. He bought domesticated farm rabbit. And what do farm rabbits associate humans with? That's right, food. Instead of scattering into the woods, 3,000 rabbits charged straight at Napoleon. Imagine the conqueror of Europe being swarmed by a giant, furry wave of fluffy bunnies. Napoleon and his generals tried swatting them away with riding whips, but the bunnies kept coming. The furry army split into 2 flanks, surrounded Napoleon, and began climbing up his legs and imperial coat. The mighty Emperor of France was reduced to running for his carriage in absolute terror. He scrambled inside the carriage and yelled at his driver to speed away. The man who defeated the greatest empires in Europe was officially forced to retreat by a bunch of bunnies. Part 3. Bathtub Strategy. When Napoleon wasn't retreating from farm animals, he was busy being an extreme romantic. He was madly, obsessively in love with his wife, Josephine. He wrote her dozens of intense, fiery, and downright weird love letters from the front lines. In one famous letter, he literally wrote, "I'm returning home in 3 days. Don't wash." Yes, the conqueror of nations was apparently into very specific natural scents. But ironically, while he wanted his wife unwashed, Napoleon was obsessed with taking hot baths. He would spend hours upon hours soaking in boiling hot bath water every single day. He held full military strategy meetings while sitting naked in the bathtub. Imagine generals in full uniform holding maps while the emperor splashes around with a rubber ducky. He also chugged absurd amounts of eau de cologne, using up to 50 bottles a month. He poured perfume over his clothes, his hair, and even sprinkled it in his boots. So during battle, Napoleon smelled either like a luxury perfume shop or a hot spring sauna. A true eccentric ruler living his best-smelling life. Part 4. Frozen in Russia. In 1812, Napoleon made the ultimate military mistake: never invade Russia in the winter. He marched into Russia with a massive army of over 600,000 men. The Russians used a scorched earth strategy, burning their own fields and cities as they retreated. When Napoleon finally reached Moscow, expecting a grand victory, the city was empty and set on fire by the Russians, with no food, no shelter, and freezing temperatures dropping way below zero. Napoleon had to retreat. His grand army froze, starved, and crumbled away on the long march back. Out of 600,000 soldiers, Less than 100,000 made it home alive. It was a devastating military catastrophe that broke Napoleon's unstoppable streak. European powers seized the moment, joined forces, and finally defeated Napoleon. They exiled him to the tiny island of Elba, thinking his story was completely over. But Napoleon was not a man to give up that easily. Part 5. The ultimate comeback and downfall. Less than a year later, Napoleon escaped Elba on a boat with a handful of supporters. He landed in France, and the French king sent the army to arrest him. Napoleon walked straight up to the soldiers, opened his coat, and shouted, "If you want to kill your emperor, here I am." The soldiers immediately cheered "Vive l'Empereur" and joined him instead. In a matter of days, Napoleon retook France without firing a single bullet. This legendary comeback is known as the 100 Days. But the rest of Europe immediately formed a mega coalition to put him down once and for all. The showdown happened at the famous Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Thanks to bad weather, muddy terrain, and brilliant tactics by the Duke of Wellington, Napoleon lost. This time, the British didn't take any chances with a close island. They exiled him to Street. Helena, a tiny, desolate island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, guarded by warships. Napoleon spent his final years complaining about the damp weather and his English captors. He passed away in 1821 at the age of 51, from battling European empires to fleeing from farm bunnies. Napoleon remains history's most fascinating short king. Napoleon proved that no matter how powerful you are, life can always throw a curveball or 3,000 bunnies at you. Which historical figure should we cover in our next episode? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe for more chaotic history animations. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.